You're listening to Black Parents Aging, where we help you navigate caring for aging loved ones. Every Wednesday, we'll discuss how to help your parents successfully navigate this new season of life. We are going to talk about legal, health, technology, and finances. Here's your host attorneys, Olivia Smith and Nicola Robinson.
Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Black Parents Aging Podcast. I am Nicola Robinson with SR Law, and I have my co-host.
Hey guys, it's Olivia Smith. I'm back. This is 2 weeks in a row.
We are so glad that you are here with us as we continue to talk about the issues that we see facing aging parents. And given that it's Black History Month, we are going to discuss and continue to discuss cautionary tales from Black celebrities.
Cautionary tales from the grave. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So last week we talked about your girl, Whitney. I will always love you, Whitney, but I would have loved you more if you had done proper estate planning.
Yes.
Michael Jackson, come on, King of Pop. Bob Marley, they're still in court. Jimi Hendrix, Aretha Franklin. Y'all know Aretha Franklin.
It was a list. It was
Aretha hits me hard. I feel like, again, because she was so private, it breaks my heart to see this playing out in court. So that's one of the ones that I almost take personal, if you will. So we talked about old wills, updated wills, and just even general procrastination, thinking we all gonna live forever. But today we're gonna talk about a few more people who did not get it right. And so here we are. I'm gonna let you kick us off. Who's our first cautionary tale?
So Gary Coleman is our first cautionary tale, but this gets so complicated. I've got a tree going to try to make sure that I keep everything straight. So here goes. We're going to see how this goes. So Gary Coleman, I don't know, some of the younger people may not know him, but he was one of the highest paid actors in the late 70s and 80s.
Wait, are we that old? Because I know who he is.
I know. That's why I said some of these younger folks may not know. But, right. So this is how you knew that things were going to go all the way to the left. A few days after his death, and he died 11 years ago, the news headline in US Weekly read, "Coleman's funeral canceled as parents and ex fight." Now, this is bad when things are so bad that loved ones are canceling your funeral. So that was just a preview of what was to come, and it really didn't get any better. He died in 2010 at just 42 years of age. He had married his wife, Shen Price, in 2007. Exactly 1 week after getting married, he amends his will. Now, I say amend his will, and I'm using quotation marks, because he didn't call up his lawyer and go to their office. That would have been too much right. He wrote a handwritten codicil, an amendment to the will. The codicil was oddly written, and this is what it said. "I made this change of free will and was not coerced in any way. This I have done because of my personal selfishness and my weakness, and I love her with all my heart." That's what it said.
Sounds kind of shady, but
sounds shady. So then Gary and Shannon got divorced in 2008. It wasn't really one of those amicable divorces. It was tumultuous. It got ugly. But even though they were getting divorced and then got divorced, they were still in each other's lives, but not for the better.
So they was only married a year. Because you said 2007.
Correct.
Okay. Correct. Keep going.
Right. So, and just a little background on how tumultuous the relationship was. Even after they got divorced, they both wound up calling the police multiple times on each other. She was arrested in 2009 on domestic violence charges. In 2010, he had to get a restraining order against her to prevent her from living in his home when he was hospitalized after their divorce.
I can't. I have no words.
There are even rumors that she sold pictures of him on his deathbed to one of the supermarket tabloids. So that's that gives you a little idea of what that relationship was like. Now, Gary had a will, which he signed in 2005. In that will, he named his friend and former head of his corporation, Anna Gray, not sure how to pronounce that, as the executor and sole beneficiary. Prior to that, he had
wait. Before you keep going. So that let the people understand. Sole beneficiary means he left it all to her.
Correct. He had a will prior to that, that was dated 1999, naming another friend, Dion Mayal, who was also his former manager as executor. He was also estranged from his adoptive parents, Sue and Willie Coleman. He had previously sued them in 89, accusing them of stealing large portions of his fortune as a child actor. The parents insisted that Gary was not able to manage his finances. Gary sued them. Eventually, they settled the legal matter, but remained estranged. Now, let me just put a pin right there. So he had already experienced like what he felt, even whether it was true or not, people taking advantage of him or wanting what he had. So you would think that he would have made sure that his paperwork, his estate planning was in order, but he had not. So let me continue on. While he was ill in Utah, Shannon Price was making medical decisions for him, including the final decision to terminate life support.
So the ex-wife.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, correct. After he died, his parents showed up at the hospital demanding legal control over his remains. His funeral was even canceled. Eventually, he was cremated. There was a trial over his estate, and a judge made the determination that Price, the ex-wife, would not be awarded anything in light of his death and that they were not married under any circumstances. So let me just say that his case has a couple takeaways. One, get your healthcare directive in order, which is what we're talking about this Tuesday. That is our February seminar. So that's what we'll be talking about. Two, don't write a handwritten will amendment. Right.
Listen, don't write a handwritten will and definitely don't write an amendment to your will.
Don't handwrite anything. Three, update your estate planning documents if your life changes. And Nicola, you say this all the time. So we talked last time about how you should revisit every couple of years if you have concerns about particular family members trying to interfere with your final wishes. This is something you should talk about with your estate planning attorney. And then we can put specific language in there to make sure that whatever directive or what you want to happen is what is going to be ensured to happen. I'm going to take a breath after that. Whew, that was mine. Nicola, what you got?
Whew, Gary got us all just sitting here clutching our pearls, girl, because that just really did it for me.
It was too much.
And it didn't have to be. That's the part that makes it just always so heartbreaking when we talk about a lot of these, tales from the grave. It didn't have to play out like this.
It did not.
Okay, so I'm switching gears from child actor, and we're going to talk about somebody that I loved growing up and watching. I ran track and field a lot. When I was younger, I did track and field, and then I went into cross country. But I remember watching the Olympics. I remember her outfits.
Yes.
Girl, the outfits. So I'm talking about none other than Florence Griffith Joyner. FloJo, as we all know.
Yes.
Who won 3 gold medals in the 1988 Olympics, but then tragically died in her sleep in 1998. We believe, and I think it's been confirmed that it was an epileptic seizure that caused her death. Yeah, but with all that, FloJo had a will, but when she died, her husband could not find it.
Oh my gosh.
It's almost, you already know how this story ends. So he failed to file the will with the probate courts within 30 days of her death, as was required by California law. They were living in California at the time. The family searched high and low, never could find the will. Her husband and her mother got into it because her mother said that FloJo had promised her that she could live in their house the rest of her life. The husband didn't see it that way. So, of course, they ended up in court. The husband never found the will, so it was never filed. And then the judge eventually just went ahead and appointed a third party to administer the estate. So what does that mean, guys? Here you have her husband and her mama. They can't agree. So the judge finds another neutral person that has to handle all of this. Well, that neutral person gets paid out of whatever FloJo left behind.
Sure does.
So that's a come up for them instead of having something written out that would have directed exactly how this would have handled. So not only are you talking about the legal fees, but now you got this neutral administrator that's also going to make a portion. And I know here in Georgia, It's 2.5% of the estate on the front end and 2.5% on the back end. So you're talking about 5% of her estate would have gone to a third party here in Georgia if she had died here. Lost wills, the moral of this story is lost wills are no wills. It means the same. It is the same thing. If you can't find it, it's as if it did not exist. So not only do you need to do a will and keep it current, but you also need to put it in a safe place. And you need to make sure that people you trust know where that is. And don't put it in a safe deposit box and think, oh, it's great. Because again, that's not necessarily a safe place if nobody knows it's in there.
Correct.
And
can't get to it.
Right. And the bank dictates who can access safe deposit boxes. Right. So if you decide you want to go that route, definitely make sure that the person you trust has access and knows that it's there. All right, girl. Who's next?
So we got a few minutes left. So this is a different one, but I think this is a good one. So the next person I'm going to talk about is not African American. I know it's Black History Month, so this person is not African American, but he has very recently passed. So this is a really recent estate planning mistake. I am going to talk about Tony Hsieh, who is the former CEO of Zappos Shoes. And he died November 2020, so like really recently. And he died of smoke inhalation after a fire in Connecticut. Now, this person is a Harvard grad, venture capitalist, and who at the time of his death, get ready for this, he was worth $850 million. He had big ideas like focusing on company culture as the number one priority, applying research from the science of happiness to running a business. He was very successful and innovative. He owned more than 100 real estate holdings in Las Vegas, which just a couple of days ago, all went up for sale. He was single, had no children, and also had no will. So this means because he had no will, every single property, every single sale has to go through the court and be approved. 100 sales, 100 approvals from the probate court. All of this just to say people go about living their lives. They have full lives. They have successful lives, dozens and dozens of business interests, work on building assets and creating a legacy and all of these great things. And then they don't prioritize estate planning. So don't let that be you. I just want to remind everybody, nothing is guaranteed. And I think that is what we've seen through all of these too. You may be healthy, you may avoid risky behavior, but you just never know. And we're not trying to be like Debbie Downers. We're not trying to like forecast doom and gloom, but we want you to not have to worry about anything. Like this is something that can be planned for. And so since this is something that can be planned for, this is something you can go ahead and do this year. Like make that a goal to get this done this year.
I think it's safe to still say, make it a New Year's resolution. Like January, we all was talking about these fitness goals.
We were hyped in January.
We'll make this your February addendum to your New Year's resolution. So that's all I think we have for today. Yes. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. You know, it has been our absolute pleasure doing this podcast.
Yes.
We love getting the comments that you guys send us. We love hearing from people about how much they have learned through the show. So we ask that you continue to give us feedback, give us comments, give us questions. If there's something you want to talk about, again, this is a judgment-free zone. We are here to listen. There are plenty of other people probably dealing with the same thing, especially when it comes to talking to their Black parents, because we all know that struggle is real. You can connect with us on Facebook and on Instagram. Okay, guys, until next time,
take care.
Thanks for joining us this week on Black Parents Aging. Check out our Facebook group at Black Parents Aging, where we go live to answer your questions. For more info on today's topic, check out the show notes on our website, srlawgrp.com. If you know someone who could benefit from today's episode, please share a link to the show. Subscribe to the show to catch new episodes and leave a review. Until next week.